James chapter 3. So beginning in verse 13, who is wise and understanding amongst you? Now, when James asks these rhetorical questions, sometimes there's a bit of a, so you claim to be wise? Do you claim to be understanding? It's interesting, the term for understanding, epistemon. So we have epistemology, the study of knowledge, how we know what we know. And so who is Saphos? You're familiar with the term wise. Who is wise and knowing, understanding, smart amongst you? Any of you claim to be wise? Any of you claim to have understanding? As normal, flowing through from James chapter 2, let him show. That's what you had in James 2. Let him show. You make a claim, live in light of the claim. That's the point of James's assertions. Let him show by his good behavior. And that's how you live your life daily, in and out. It's not by a single deed once in a while. It is a manner of walking. Let him show by his good behavior his deeds, his works, again flowing out of James chapter 2, in the gentleness of Sophios. So if you want to claim to be Saphos, wise, then the gentleness of wisdom. There is a biblical undertone, especially when you read Proverbs. There is a strength to wisdom. If you are wise, it gives you strength, because the wise rules over the fool. The fool who lacks understanding, the wisdom and understanding, that fool will be ruled over by the one who has wisdom. But wisdom and knowledge can be used to puff up and to damage others. And so it is the gentleness of wisdom. And if the knowledge that you gain causes you to become more hardened in your treatment of others, you're going the wrong direction. It should, because any person who gains great knowledge should recognize how much knowledge they have yet to gain, and hence should recognize that God, who is all wise, has so much more knowledge than any of us could ever possess, that our level of knowledge is so small, our wisdom is so small, we are so dependent upon somebody else for it. We stand upon not only the shoulders of giants who come before us, but we are dependent upon God's revelation to know anything about himself at all. Therefore, there should be a gentleness of wisdom. So the more you learn, the more you know, the more gentle that should make you. Not, and we're going to have the opposites of this given in a moment, not harsh, because it should cause humility for you to, wisdom should create humility. Wisdom, fear the Lord, wisdom, you see all the connections here. And James is clearly drawing very much from the flow of Proverbs. But on the other hand, so here's the danger. But if you have Zelon Pikran, bitter jealousy, and you almost don't have to add the second term, because jealousy always creates bitterness. And jealousy, I've seen, I see this in the academy all the time. You see people who want to have the positions that other people have, and they want to have the knowledge other people have. And so they are jealous when one scholar gets published and they don't, or gets published in a better journal and they don't, and it creates bitterness. There is a bitterness that is a necessary result of jealousy, because jealousy fundamentally is a questioning of God's goodness. It is a demanding that God give to you what he has given to others in his grace. You can't demand grace. And so if you have bitter jealousy and then what? Selfish ambition. Selfish ambition. So if you claim to be wise, you claim to have understanding, but if you join those claims with bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your heart, so it has a place within you. It defines who you are. It is poisoning all of your relationships and your words and your speech and your actions. So if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your heart, do not become arrogant. Anyone who claims wisdom and understanding, arrogance is the greatest danger. It is something that every single one of us, I don't care who we are, must recognize the danger and the devastation that it brings. Do not be arrogant and lie against the truth. Now, what would be the necessary connection there? If you're a person of wisdom, then you should have great love for the truth. But if you have jealousy, how many times have we heard about people who twisted the truth for their own advancement, who lied against the truth for their own advancement, or only gave a part of the truth for their own advancement? Jealousy and selfish ambition destroys any meaningful application of wisdom and knowledge in mankind, because jealousy and selfish ambition are rebellious attitudes. You're rebelling against God. You're not seeing yourself properly as the creature of God. You're not seeing the vast chasm that exists between the creature and the Creator. You're not acknowledging the great wisdom of the Creator, your dependence upon his wisdom. And so these are all the opposite attitudes that one is to have in comparison to a godly attitude. And the result will be you will lie against the truth. You may know the truth, but you'll twist it, you'll turn it, you'll turn it into something else. And you will lie against the truth. And so this wisdom, this safa, the person who says, I'm safas, I'm wise, this wisdom is not that which comes down from above. So there's two different kinds of wisdom. There's that which comes down from above, and there is that which is earthly. It is from below. It is earthly. It is sukike. It is soulish. It's natural. It's of the creature. And it's demonic. There is a spiritual... When the enemy of your soul sees that you have deep within you that root of bitterness, oh, he will just do everything in his power to grow that thing, because it will destroy everything around it. We are warned about the root of bitterness. And it is indeed, this wisdom is not that which comes down from above. It's earthly. It appeals to the sensual. It's soulish, natural, demonic. For where there is jealousy, selfish ambition, strife, division is the term can be, I mean, how can selfish ambition always results in division? Everybody knows that the guy who always wants to get ahead, who's going to step on everybody, you don't want him on your team. He's going to create division because he's not going to want anyone else to get the credit for what he himself does or she does. So you always, in business, wherever it is, you see where jealousy and selfish ambition exist. There is a really interesting term. There is, it's a term that has at its root stasis. You've heard of stasis? The situation is in stasis. There is There's no change. There is a consistency. There's a harmony, to be in stasis. Well, this is the opposite of that. So it's disorder, tumult, frequently used in the context of rebellion and every evil practice. And so, I think back on Philippians chapter 2, and Paul's providing to the church at Philippi the greatest teaching on how you can have peace in the church. You have peace in the church when you're not looking out for your own things, that's jealousy and strife, but you're looking out for the things of others. Humility of mind. You're acting in humility of mind toward others. When you have maturity in a fellowship, that means you have servants in that fellowship that are not looking for their own self-promotion. They're looking to serve Christ by serving others. That is the church where you're going to have peace and harmony. That's where you're going to have peace and harmony. And so where jealousy and selfish ambition are, that's where you're going to find clamor and disorder and rebellion and every evil practice. So within the church, within your own heart, within the family, within any organization, jealousy, selfish ambition, it comes in slowly. It can just be the thought, he didn't really deserve that. I deserve that. That guy shouldn't have the platform he has. I should have that. And it can be just a quick thought you might dismiss, but if you don't dismiss it with prejudice, what am I even thinking that? God is in charge of all these things. God's sovereign over these things. He gives gifts. He places people where they are. If this person is a fellow believer, I should rejoice in what they have and the opportunities they have to promote the gospel and whatever it might be. And you go on from there. But if you nurse it, if you think upon it, the thought comes back later on, and it comes back later on, it's a slow but dangerous process to create that jealousy. That guy shouldn't get the notoriety he does. He shouldn't get to speak at the places he gets. I should have that. Oh, man. There's a lot of jealousy. A lot of jealousy in the church. And that's why there's disorder in every evil thing as well. So James 3:17 was the verse I was talking about. But it's interesting that it's at the end of all these warnings about what results from jealousy and strife and self-centeredness and a wisdom that is earthly rather than heavenly. But the wisdom from above is first pure. It is pure. And then it is peaceable. And then I'm not going to go through all this because I did last year and I spent a little more time. These terms that are used have interesting possibilities as to their meaning, their lexical meaning, what's called the semantic domain. A semantic domain is the range of meanings for a word. There are some words that have an extremely narrow semantic domain, very technical terms. And then there are words that have massively wide semantic domains that only context can tell you where in that large domain the author is placing that particular term. And these are, especially when you get into, well, gentle, yeah, but reasonable could be easily persuaded. Someone who's always trying to get two sides together, the peacemaker type thing. Full of mercy is fairly straightforward. Full of mercy. I would just ask all of us, when we consider the attitudes that are fostered and produced by social media interaction, do they promote or denigrate mercy? I've read a number of articles recently about how there's all these fake Twitter accounts and stuff, and how the idea is to create division, to divide people, to make people hate one another. And I don't know much about that. I just know that our natural tendency is when we see things online, we just line up. My tendency, your tendency, is to believe what resonates with you, what's consistent with your tribe, with your prejudices, with what you already believe, all that stuff. That's how we are. And as I said, I don't know that we were ever really intended to be overwhelmed with the level of information that is available to us every single day. And so when we are, it's very easy, even if we want to be full of mercy, to instead be full of strife, vindictiveness. And I just wonder how different our interactions would be. I know that in normal human interaction, like where you actually talk to people, something nobody does anymore. This is how everybody looks now when they're sitting at dinner. That's a bad thing. And the amazing thing is they'll actually be texting each other at the same table. It's like, how does this work? This is the way things are now. But back in the days when you looked at people, every once in a while, I'll be standing every once in a while. I flew 165,000 miles. Did you know that? 165,000 miles this year was my total. Remember what you had to do at the end of last year. So I flew a lot more this year than I did last year. I'm sorry? Are my arms tired? Yes. Not even a dad joke. That's not even a good dad joke. That's an Uncle Rich joke, and it's just anyway. But I'll be staying at a gate, and once in a while I'll just sort of look around. And yeah, most of the time I'm looking at my phone too, because I'm checking the schedule and I'm getting my flight, because my boarding pass is on my phone, and every you can have that thing ready to go, and as soon as you turn it over to put on that thing, the screen shuts off. It's just how it works. It's just, so there's stuff you got to do, and you're checking what your ride's going to be when you're getting where you're going, or if you're delayed, are you going to make your connecting flight? There's lots of stuff. I understand why we're looking at our phones, but sometimes I'll have put it away, I'm ready to go, and I'm just looking around, and everyone's doing that, and I'll find the one other person that isn't looking at a phone, and I'll get their attention. I'll go, especially if they're as old as I am, or at least in my generation. I'm like, remember when we actually used to talk to each other in airports? Things like that. And they're like, yeah. You sort of get a conversation going, and somebody else will put their phone down. And you get that type of thing going. So I just wonder if in all of when we actually talk to people, and if we'd apply this to when we're putting our fingers on the keyboard, full of mercy. A person, when you can go after an individual, you are assuming you know enough about all of their life, what they're going through, their relationships, everything, to judge them worthy of your attack and condemnation. The fact of the matter is, most of the time, you don't know. That's one of the reasons why disciplinary interactions are supposed to be done in the local church, not by someone 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away, because they don't live with you. They can't get to the bottom of these issues. And so, full of mercy. The wisdom from above is full of mercy, because wisdom can be used as a weapon. But for a Christian, it should always, first and foremost, be full of mercy. It's got to be pure, no jealousy, no strife, no self-promotion. Once that's there, it's no longer the wisdom from above. It should seek to create peace, not division. It should be gentle, not harsh. Reasonable. Boy, we could go a lot with that. Full of mercy and good fruits. Good fruits. If what you do only destroys and doesn't produce good fruits, you might want to think about it. Unwavering. That is, and really the unwavering and without hypocrisy, very, very similar to one another. One might have more of an emphasis of standing firm. The other, without hypocrisy, without putting on that mask and pretending to be something else. These are descriptions of the wisdom that comes down from above. And honestly, if we just had a screen up here, wouldn't it be a great device that for every tweet, you have to submit it to the James 3:17 device, and it would analyze the tweet and automatically highlight the words that might just violate this one, and this one. And you have to rewrite it. If you had to rewrite every tweet in light of James 3:17, how many of us would see our tweeting numbers collapse massively over the course of 2020?